Welcome to another episode of the Palm Springs Baker. I truly am excited to have the person that's guesting in our kitchen today. You're gonna just love him. He is an American actor, writer, story editor, and producer, and he's just done so many shows that you've watched. He's written for the Golden Girls, the Brady Bunch Movie, Teen Titans, Scooby-Doo, Wings, and more, and he hasn't stopped yet. Today he's still writing mystery novels, but take a look at this favorite clip.
Now, I remember when Stanley and I were going through this. We tried everything, relaxation techniques, hypnosis. I fed the man so many oysters, when he passed a kidney stone, I had it appraised.
So Rick Copp, here he is in the Palm Springs Baker's kitchen. Oh my God, kid, that was hysterical.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. I love you. And I can't wait to get cooking, even though I'm a terrible cook. I've never baked a thing in my life.
Saying that, but I don't believe it. We'll see about that. But that clip that we just showed, honey.
That was from my first episode that I co-wrote for the Golden Girls.
Oh my
First episode
God.
of any TV show I ever did.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's amazing. The Golden Girls was your first job.
First writing job. Yeah, I was 2 years out of NYU. I went to the Tisch School of the Arts, and I had started writing these spec scripts. I was working in children's television at the time, but I had met this guy named David Goodman, and we started writing spec scripts, and we had a Family Ties script and a Golden Girls script.
Okay.
And there was a woman named Gloria Banta, who, she was a big writer in the 70s on Mary Tyler Moore and Rhoda, and she kind of mentored us, and it was during the big writer strike of 1988.
Yes.
And no one in Hollywood was doing anything, so she sent them out to Tony Thomas, who's the executive producer of the Golden Girls, Danny Thomas's son, Marlo's brother.
Yeah.
And he had nothing to do, so he read our scripts, and it was, I remember this day as if it was yesterday. It was 2 weeks before my 24th birthday. And I'd come back from lunch and the phone rang and I said, hello. And he goes, this is Tony Thomas. And I thought it was a joke. And I'm like, yeah, this is David, you know. And he's like, I read your scripts, and would you consider moving out to Hollywood and writing for the Golden Girls? And 3 weeks later,
God.
I was on the set 3 weeks later.
You were hired sight unseen.
Sight unseen, yeah.
It must have been hysterical.
It was so, I'm from Bar Harbor, Maine. These things don't happen. So
had the show started yet? Or?
It was oh God, I'm not that old, Chuck. I was in college when it started. No, it was 88, so it would have been the fourth season.
You went in the fourth season?
The fourth season, yeah.
Okay.
And they were already an established top 5 hit.
But he could tell that you had the chemistry to write on the show.
And I remember his... they gave us our first story, and it was such a winner. Like, we didn't come up with the story. They gave it to us. And it was an episode about Rose dating a man who was having performance issues in the bedroom.
Oh, yes.
And so that was her problem.
We just saw that, right? The writing was just exceptional.
It was a very wonderful experience. You know, in the first year, the second year they brought in all new producers because the ones we had worked with had moved on, and it became a little more difficult for us. But that fourth season was amazing.
Oh, but
it was just amazing.
Every time you saw the girls being interviewed, they did. They always gave the writers the credit.
They did, and I walked on that set, and I was like, "This is insane. What am I doing here?" And but because I was such a Maude fan. You know, I loved Bea Arthur and Maude. And then also, Betty White to me will always be Sue Ann Nivens. I mean, look,
I know. I know. Oh my God. Do you know, I don't know if I've told you or not, but I actually got to meet Betty several times. We first met while we were doing a commercial. And it was a holiday commercial. And they recently had an auction of a lot of her belongings. And I had to get this at the auction.
That's wonderful.
It's Betty's 60 Years on Television Award from the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences.
Wow.
So I feel so lucky to have this. I really do. But she always talked about the writers. The writers were it. And I even remember some quotes from Lucille Ball. Lucille would always say, I can't think funny, but I can do funny.
Yes, I remember that quote too. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you guys...
They were an all-star team. The four of them just came in and, you know, and if it didn't get a laugh, you knew the problem was with the joke.
Yeah.
And we would go back, and I remember my very first joke I ever wrote for the Golden Girls, and it was before my first episode, and it was run differently than most sitcoms. Most sitcoms, all the writers sit around a table and they pitch out jokes all at once.
Yeah.
And this team that was running this Golden Girls, we would go up to our offices and they would call us up and say, we need a joke on page 7. And so I'd come up with this joke, and my writing partner said, don't send it down. It's not that funny. And I insisted, I'm like, no, let's try it. And it got in. And it was an episode where they were getting their roof fixed.
Yes.
And it was leaking, and the
Yes.
repairman came over.
Yeah, well, I really don't think I need to go up there. I could see it was a goner when I drove up.
Oh, Sid, well, can't you patch it up or something?
Well, yeah, I could patch it up for you, but that won't stop more leaks when it rains again.
What are you trying to say, Sid?
You couldn't follow that?
She has trouble following Murder, She Wrote.
So
Oh my
that was the
God,
very first joke I got on TV.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
Murder Show, my other life's inspiration.
Oh my God. Well, the Golden Girls were known for gathering around the kitchen table.
Oh, yes.
Yes, usually in the middle of the night, and one by one they'd come out there in their bathrobe, right?
Yeah.
Solving some world problem, or maybe a boyfriend's impotence problem, maybe, God only knows. And I don't need to tell you this, Rick, but they would make
Cheesecake.
cheesecake. So guess what we're going to make today?
Cheesecake.
We're going to make some cheesecake. So
I am so excited to eat it, not to make it.
But you know what? Before we even break an egg, we have to have a little martini. Absolutely. We always do this on the show. Yes, this will make it all just go.
Here's to Betty White.
Here's to Betty and all the girls. She was such a doll. She even had me over to her house one time.
Oh, wow.
She was everything you'd wanted her to be.
Yes.
And you were saying that the rest of the girls were all
Oh, they were all
wonderful, too.
great. Yeah.
They were wonderful. All right. Well, you know what? We'll start with the
time.
crust. It's time.
All right.
We're going to start making the crust, all right? So it's going to be basically a graham cracker crust. So we've got some graham cracker crumbs here.
Ooh.
We're going to put them in the food processor. Now, you know what
I don't even own a food processor.
You don't know one, honey? I was going to ask him if he knew what this was.
Don't ask me to-
You
I
know
can-
what this is, though, don't you?
It grinds things up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But isn't
food.
they're already ground?
Food. Well,
Oh,
those were
okay.
already ground.
All right.
Yes. You know what? He's got just another pretty face. He saw that they were already ground. But now these aren't.
Okay.
We're going to put some almonds in there. Almonds will give them that really rich depth of flavor. A few little almonds. Have you ever had a graham cracker crust with
That's
almonds
the
in
only
it?
reason I'll eat a pie is with graham cracker crust. I don't like regular pie
Don't
filling.
you like? Oh, honey,
No,
I've got
graham
one
cracker.
I bet you'd love. You've got to come back. You've got to come back. Then we're going to throw in
Well,
a-
I said we should come back and do more other credits. Like next time we'll bake Scooby snacks.
There we go. There we go. All you Scooby people. Oh my God, this is the guy. We want to hear about all that, Rick. We do. I mean, it was like Scooby and the Titans.
The Teen Titans.
Oh my.
I was a comic book geek. Yeah.
I love it. So, honey, so
Okay.
you're a virgin at well,
I live in Palm Springs.
well, then he's not a virgin. But anyway, but you're a virgin at the food processor.
Yes.
Well, honey, do I dare?
Well,
do,
just
do you want to
pulse? Is
Do you
it
want
pulse?
to? Do you want to get turned on? All right. Do you want to turn it on?
Yes.
Okay.
Both.
Yeah, I would hit pulse.
Pulse.
Hit pulse.
Whoa! Oh, I keep my finger on
Don't
it.
be afraid, honey. Don't
Oh.
be afraid. I know it's your first time.
Go into the light, Caroline.
Yeah. Well, just kind of be gentle. You know. Be gentle. Okay. You can stop
Okay.
now a little bit.
All right.
And then I'm going to pack this down a little bit because we want to make sure all those almonds get all crunched up in there. All
Okay.
right. Now again, this is your first time with the food processor. Be gentle. Do you want to hit the pulse again? Well, listen, kiddo.
Okay.
I'm
It
gonna
smells good.
Doesn't that smell
Yeah.
good? So I'm
Oh, gosh.
gonna dump that right in there for you, honey.
Okay. Do I have to press it down?
And then yes, you can just press that all
Okay.
down. Look at you.
All right,
You
it's
did
not
that
bad.
faster than I did. We're gonna put this in the oven for about 8 minutes.
Okay.
At about 300 degrees. So Rick, I think we have to have another martini,
I do
don't
too.
you?
Absolutely.
So we toasted all the girls.
We
Golden
toasted the
girls
girls,
last time.
yes.
And you know what I want to hear about now? And I want to do a toast to that. This whole Where the Bears Are
Oh,
thing that you've done.
yes.
Oh my God, that sounds
Yes,
so
I brought
fun.
you the complete set of DVDs if you even own a DVD player. Because
Well,
a lot
I
of
might
people
have
don't.
one, but whatever.
Yeah, this was a show I did with two of my best friends, Joe Dietl and Ben Zook. And we wanted to do, we were having, television was just frustrating us. So we decided to do something on our own. And we self-produced this series. And then it ended up lasting 7 seasons on YouTube. And now you can find it on Tubi. And it's basically
you lasted 7 seasons.
7 years. And we did 7.
In this environment of
Plus 8 holiday specials, which we put on the second DVD, the 2
Are you
DVDs.
serious?
Yeah, no, we did. We filmed a lot, and we had guest stars like Margaret Cho.
this guy can write like...
But people always ask, well, what is it? Because, we had Chaz Bono on as a guest star once, and he told his mother, Cher, about the show, and she was like, Where the Bears Are? Is that an animated series? And he's like, Mom, you don't know what bears are? Are you kidding me? Cher didn't know what bears were. So we were very upset about that. But anyway.
That's hysterical.
The show is best described as The Golden Girls meets Murder, She Wrote with big, hairy gay men. It's about 3 middle-aged, big, hairy gay guys in their 40s who solve murders, and we have a lot of hot eye candy.
I'm going to be binge watching this tonight.
We shot all of season 7 right here in Palm Springs. The
my
Mr. Bear America
God.
pageant we shot at the Palm Springs Cultural Center.
This was like
And
around what? Not that long
2012
ago.
to 2019, 2018,
Oh my
2019.
God.
Yeah, right before COVID, and then we wrapped
But
up.
7 seasons.
Yes, and I played the Blanche character. I was kind of
you
the
did? You
floozy
acted
character.
in it.
I was one of the I was one of the
You
bears.
were the Rue McClanahan.
I was the Rue McClanahan. But the irony was, my mother watched every episode, so I would never give myself sex scenes. I wouldn't write them, right? I wouldn't do it. And so the others were like taking their shirts off, and they were like, Rick, you're Blanche, you can't avoid this. And so finally, in I think season 5, there was a plot line where I was having an affair with someone at the same time as another character, and we had to go back and forth, and I had to do a sex scene. So I told my mother, do not watch episode 4. Just skip it. Just don't watch it, right? and my sister calls me, and she goes, she watched it. She saw it.
She did watch it.
Yes, and I called her, I said, Mom, I told you not to watch episode 4. She goes, oh, wasn't that bad? You talked the whole time.
People can still find these.
Oh, gosh, yes, on YouTube, Tubi. They can buy it on Amazon. And we actually, next year, have a documentary coming out called A Big Gay Hairy Hit, Where the Bears Are, the documentary. And we have a distributor, and it's going to be hopefully on a streaming
And
service.
it's the story
of us, our frustration with Hollywood, and how we put this thing together, and it kind of became an international phenomenon. I can go to a bar in London, and people will know, if it's a certain bar, that will know me, and it's great.
I believe it.
It's really, really fun. So
I believe
it's still to this day. It's like people know it, and so
I know what I'm doing tonight. I'll tell you that right now. I love it.
well, they're all yours. So
Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Well, you know what? We're going to get back to work
Yes.
here a little bit. Do you know what one of these are?
mixer.
It's a mixer, honey. No, this is not used in the bedroom. This is
I was
used in
going to
the
say,
kitchen.
why aren't there other more people here if it's a mixer? I am single, Chuck.
And
So-
ready to mix, I can
I'm
tell.
ready to mix.
He's single and ready to mix, honey. So, oh, God, you got me going here, kiddo. I'm gonna put in, we got a little mascarpone cheese.
Ooh.
Now we're making the filling for that
Oh, God, this
cheesecake.
looks so good.
Oh, it is. This is,
I love mascarpone.
oh, you know what? It just gives it that richness. And then we have a little regular cream cheese. Just a little bit. A little sugar.
Just a little.
Just a little sugar. We're going to let you get in here.
Okay.
Again, this is the mixer. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, I thought
Now,
the eggs. Okay, good.
Start
okay.
slow.
No,
What-
was this the button?
this is called the button of the mixer. There
Okay.
you go.
Do I start now?
Start slow, honey, or we'll have everything a-flying, you know that? Which has happened in this kitchen many a
Oh,
time.
gosh.
You've got to cream the sugar
Uh-huh.
with the cheese so that it gets all smooth.
Oh, God, this
And we don't want grainy cheesecake, right?
No.
So we are going to get those eggs, and we're just going to crack that egg.
Okay.
And actually, I got to tell you, it's best to crack the eggs into a separate bowl because, sometimes you get a little shell in there. We put a little vanilla in there. That's going to give it a little extra body. This is about 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. And we're going to just keep working that until it gets all smooth. And, oh, he's spattering again.
Yeah.
I know.
Prematurely.
Oh, Mom.
Not a chef. Although I played a chef in TV.
You did?
I did. I did this terrible series back in the 90s. And we were at Universal Studios working as writers, and they came to us, they go, we want to do a reboot of Knight Rider with David Hasselhoff with a talking car. So we did a show called Team Knight Rider, 5 talking cars. I mean, it was
Not a
so
bad gig
ridiculous.
with David Hasselhoff.
Well, he wasn't even involved. But we had a gay SUV and a slutty convertible and an ill-tempered monster truck, and like they would be flown on this big transport plane to the world's trouble spots, to solve crime. And I played on this plane was the size of the USS Enterprise. And I played Clayton the chef, who was on the plane cooking the meals for all the team members.
And you don't even know what one of these
I didn't know what
are.
and I remember my favorite episode. My big episode was there was a mad scientist who created an earthquake machine, and I spent the whole episode upset because my souffle collapsed.
I mean, you really had to act.
That was acting. Yeah.
You had to really act because did you do a lot of studying for that role?
Oh yeah.
Because
it was so realistic.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. So I've got the crust out of the oven. That's all baked up. You're doing a project with your sister.
Well, we've been for a long time now. I write mystery novels now, and we write under the pen name Lee Hollis.
Okay.
Because I wrote 4 books under my own name, and nothing ever happened with them.
I
never
doubt
write
that.
under your own name. Apparently,
I doubt
no one bought them. My grandfather's name was Hollis, and my middle name is Hollis, and my sister's middle name is Lee. So we formed the team Lee Hollis as a pen name, and we do these books called the Haley Powell Food and Cocktails Mysteries. Oh my God! And it's kind of based on my sister's life. She was a newspaper columnist, food columnist for our local paper in Bar Harbor, Maine. And but we added the Murder She Wrote element that she solves murders too, which Holly really doesn't. We just handed on our 18th book in the series yesterday, and then I went on to do
and
other.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, they're in
People
Barnes
can
and
find them,
Noble,
Barnes and
Amazon, and
everywhere.
Oh yeah, and then we've done 10 holiday collections with that same character. But then I've gone on now to do new series. I did the Poppy Harmon. She was a retired actress who was on like a Mannix type show, and she retires to Palm Springs, and with her 2 best friends.
And this is recent now?
Yeah, we did, last 5 years. And we did 5 books. I did 5 books of those, and then I'm doing. Here, let me show you.
Yeah.
And then, so this is the last Poppy Harmon and the Shooting Star.
Oh my
And
God,
it's all set in Palm Springs.
I love it.
And I go to real places like Spencer and John Henry Cafe.
Those are iconic restaurants in town here.
Yes, and then this is Death of a Gingerbread Man, which is our latest Haley Powell book for Christmas.
I love it.
And I had a reader call.
This just came out.
This just came out about a month ago.
Oh my
And
God.
I had a reader. Why are all the recipes with gingerbread? And I go, well, because the book is called Death of a Gingerbread. Yeah, but that's all right. And then we have our new paperback Christmas Mittens Murder, a collection of 3 murder mysteries.
And they're thick. My God,
Yeah.
honey, there's a lot of reading here.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. And then this is another series I did. This one actually has been optioned for television. And it's the Maya and Sandra, about 2 single moms who
So that
solve
may
murder.
still happen.
Yeah,
possibly.
maybe. You never know.
You never know.
The TV business, you never know. But
Yeah.
this is the latest one in the series, Murder at the Spelling Bee. And it's
How do you come up with-
I kill you.
How do you come up with these concepts? I mean, really, Rick.
I have another Palm Springs book coming out next year, though, which I'm very excited about. The books I wrote under my own name 20 years ago were about a gay former child actor with his hot cop boyfriend who solved murders. Kind of a gay heart-to-heart.
Okay.
You remember that
Oh,
show?
yes, I do.
And they didn't really. And he was a former child actor, solves murders with his hot husband, and they never went anywhere. Nothing ever happened with them. And then a psychic told me that character will come back someday. And I'm like, you're crazy, because no one bought them. They didn't do well. And about 2 years ago, my editor in New York called me up and he said, I want to bring that character back. And now he's a father in his late 50s, a widower with a grown daughter, and it's a father-daughter mystery set here in Palm Springs. And it's coming out next June.
fun.
It's called My Father Always Finds Corpses.
And it's coming out June of 2025.
June of 2025.
Oh my God!
And I'm really excited
honey.
about that one.
I'm going to be standing in line waiting for it.
Oh, you'll get a free copy.
No.
As long as I get more cheesecake.
Oh, you can have all the cheesecake you want, sweet stuff. Oh my God. You know what? We're about ready to I'm going to just put this right in our little pan here. And we're going to get this baby in the oven, 325 degrees, for an hour and 5 minutes, honey. We'll be right back. So we just took the cheesecake out of the oven. Actually, about an hour ago, and I've been letting it cool. And you know
We've
what?
been drinking.
Oh, we've had a couple cocktails, right, honey? Yeah, I know. So good. Oh. But you know what? There's one thing I want to make sure that everybody knows. When you're baking this cheesecake, it's not going to completely firm up in the oven. You can bake it and bake it and bake it, but don't over bake it. Just bake it, the hour and 5 minutes. Pull it out, and it's going to jiggle a little bit in the center, but don't worry about it because as you let it cool, it's going to firm up.
It's firming up now. I can see
You know what?
Yeah.
Things firm up.
Yeah,
They really do.
Part of life.
It's part of life, honey. They do. You don't have to worry about it. So don't worry if it's jiggling in the oven. I just want to make sure everybody knows that, all right? But, okay, so, working in the industry, as long as you have Rick, and working on so many hit projects, you had to have met an awful lot of
Yes, and a lot of people that weren't famous yet.
Okay.
I remember, of course, this isn't a successful project, but I wrote a pilot called Homewood PI with a friend of mine, Joel Fields, who went on to co-create The Americans. Remember that show?
Yes.
Terry Russell. And it was about a retired cop who opens a private eye business because he's bored, in the family garage. And he hires this gay ex-con named Bear. Even back then, I was coming up with Bears, played by Anthony Anderson. Remember, know him from Blackish?
Yes,
He was great. All right. And so we were casting the kids, and we were, the daughter, the 15-year-old daughter, we saw this actress, and we were like, she's so good. And the studio, Sony, the executives were like, we want this other girl. And they kept pushing and pushing, and it became this big thing. Joel and I were like, we want this girl. She's great. And so finally, the president of CBS turned to us. He goes, it's your show. Who do you want? And we said, we want her. And we went with her, and it was Kaylee Cuoco. It was her first job. Went on Big Bang Theory and The Flight Attendant.
Yeah.
And what happened with that pilot is we got on Friday nights at 9 o'clock on
You
CBS.
knew how to pick talent, honey.
Well, and then we were so excited, and they flew us to New York for the upfronts and everything. And then what happened was they were in a conference room playing our pilot, and Phil Rosenthal, who created Everybody Loves Raymond,
brilliant
who
show,
lived across the street from me. I mean, I knew who he was.
Oh my
and
God.
we were friends. He walked in and he saw our pilot, and he looked at the star of the pilot, and he goes, I'm so tired of looking at that guy. And so all of a sudden, all the executives were like, well, what? And then they were deciding, well, maybe there's another pilot we could put on it Friday nights at 9 and all that. And they picked up this one tape off the floor, and they go, well, let's try this one. And they were like, eh. And then they took ours down and they put it up. And we missed getting on the CBS schedule. I don't even know what happened to that show. It's called something like CSI Crime Scene Investigation. I mean, who remembers that one?
No, well, exactly.
But anyway, it all worked out in the end because the star was a nightmare. And I feel like I dodged a bullet by that pilot not getting picked up because, oh my God, he was a nightmare. But of course, I can't tell you who it is, of course.
Okay.
I could maybe give you the initials.
Really?
Initials, just the initials.
Do we have to arm twist a little bit, honey?
You'll have to guess the initials. Okay, the initials are Tony Danza.
Oh my God!
Okay, the only reason I feel comfortable saying
You
that.
heard it here first, kids.
Oh, good. Because I saw Johnny Carson, he asked Johnny Carson as Betty Davis, who's the worst person you ever worked with? And she goes, without a doubt, Faye Dunaway. So if Betty gets away with it, I think I can.
Then
Right?
you can do it, honey. Oh
he
my
doesn't
God. You heard it here first. Spoiler alert. I love it, kiddo.
He called me fat. There's a whole thing. No.
Oh. And here I thought he was maybe such a nice guy, but I guess not.
Oh, no. He is, I'm sure. But,
Oh,
but
honey.
Kaylee Cuoco. First
oh my
job.
God.
First job.
On Big Bang, she was just
She was
brilliant.
wonderful. I loved her in Flight Attendant. She's great.
Oh,
So,
all of it. And she's gone on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
She's just a doll.
yeah, she's great.
Oh my God. And you discovered her.
I think it was very early on in her career.
I think-
if it wasn't her first job, it was really close. So.
Okay. We've got our cheesecake here, and it's just, don't you think it looks a little naked?
Yeah,
Just,
it does.
you know what? We don't want that.
Well,
So-
sometimes we do, but
Well,
not
yes.
on a cheesecake.
Not on a cheesecake. So we're going to zhuzh it up a little
That,
bit.
Look how artistic
We
you are.
are going to just zhuzh it up with a little chocolate sauce. But don't you think it's missing something?
Yes.
I think I'll let you do the honors.
Do I use the spoon?
A little fruit. I thought you might be
Do I?
good.
Oh God, this is going to be a
I
disaster.
thought you might be good with the fruit.
The fruit?
honey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
known to be good with fruit.
Talk about artistic, and we'll cut out a little slab of this.
Tiny.
Just a
tiny
one,
sliver.
honey, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, honey, try
Okay.
that.
Mm.
Oh,
Oh my God. Oh my God.
good.
It's really good.
Oh
I didn't
my
get some of the
God.
crust though. I want the crust.
You gotta have a look for it. I know you love that graham cracker crust. I know.
Oh, the crust makes it.
Isn't that?
It's delicious.
Oh my God, honey.
It's delicious.
You know what? I just love that you brought your books and your DVDs.
Self-promotion.
Hey, honey.
Thank you so much for having me. I've had a blast today.
Oh my God. You are just a living doll. Thank you.
And 5 more pounds.
Thank you, thank you. And as we say at the end of every episode, be good, be you, and bake.